Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Rick. I hope you're having a great day. So today we are on day 4 of my Wales road trip. So it's still nice and early in the morning, 10 to 8 in the morning. It's a bit chilly, got the heaters on, and if it's again beautiful blue sky up there, as it has been for the past 4 days. Actually, it's been weather like that for at least more than a week, so I've definitely picked the right time to come away. So right now I'm at the very most northern part of Anglesey Island in North Wales. If I look out to the ocean, the next thing I should be able to see is the Isle of Man, although I haven't physically seen it yet, but apparently you can see it from here. But today I'm going to carry on around the rest of the anti-clockwise direction around Anglesey. Then I'm going to get myself back onto the mainland, and then I think the intention today is to carry along the northern part of Wales, because I haven't seen any of that part of Wales before. And then once I get to the end of that road where Wales gets very close to England, I think I will, on this journey, have pretty much covered all of the parts of Wales that I haven't yet seen. So that's the plan for today. Now, quite how long it's going to take me, because on the map it looks like quite a way, but I've got a feeling I'm going to be reaching that end point within about 3 or 4 hours. Obviously it will depend on where I stop off along the way. But then of course the question is, what do I do from there? I don't know. We'll find out when I get there. So I'm just going to get myself organised. I'm going to make myself a nice cup of tea, get the van packed down, ready to hit the road, and we'll go from there. Now, I'd love to be showing you the drive from this morning, coasting around the rest of Anglesey, weaving through Bangor, and gliding along the North Wales Expressway. It really was a lovely stretch. But I made a huge rookie mistake. Turns out, if you don't regularly offload your dashcam footage, it starts writing over the old stuff. And, well, guess who found that out the hard way? The frustrating part is, I did kind of know this. I even mentioned it in an earlier video. But clearly, my sense of how much time had passed wasn't as sharp as I thought it was. The only bit of footage I was able to salvage from that stretch was a brief clip from a side-mounted camera crossing back over the Britannia Bridge onto the mainland. So, sadly, most of the early part of the day is gone. No footage of the Conway Tunnel, none of the wide coastal views I was enjoying as I followed the expressway east. Nothing. I was gutted when I realised total user error. But I suppose that's how we learn. At least I'll know for next time. Offload the dashcam footage every few hours religiously. Anyway, thankfully not all was lost. A little later, I pulled into a seaside spot, and that's where we pick things back up. Right, so I'm parked up in a little place called Ross-on-Sea, which is not quite halfway along the top road on the top of Wales. So we've got Llandudno out over that way, and something else over there, I can't remember the name, but you can see the coastline sort of swoops around, and just kind of more mountains and everything over there. And it's really rather pleasant with the sun shining, although it's still windy. That wind is still quite keen. It's still a little bit of a bite in the temperature-wise. I'm also curious about this ledge, if there's like a sheer drop or if it's a hill. Oh, it's a hill, okay. So it's a really interesting drive. There's this road that runs all the way along the top, and they call it the... I'm so forgetting of these names. It's like the Welsh whatever road. I'll put the name here. It's quite a nice road to drive on. It's a really smooth bit of tarmac, and you get these lovely sights of the mountains and everything encroaching on the view. And it was a really enjoyable drive. And I went under what I'm assuming is underwater, like a tunnel underwater. Never driven underwater before, assuming it's underwater, but although it didn't go down that far, but on the map it was a big sort of estuary bit of water, so I'm going to assume we went underneath it. It was a big long tunnel. That was quite cool. But I'm reaching that point now where I'm wanting to go back to that analogy of the car show. I often use this car show analogy where you go to a car show and for the first hour your jaw is on the ground looking at all these incredible cars. Wow, look at that. And then 5 hours later you're still at the show, but all the cars just look the same now. They just have lost that impact and you're quite happy to go home. Right now I'm in the 4th hour of the car show, metaphorically speaking. So the beautiful views, the novelty factor of them has worn off a little bit, and they're not as impacting as they were. Still, don't get me wrong, still beautiful to sort of drive on these amazing roads and see all these beautiful sights. But I'm thinking, when I get to the end of this long road heading back towards England, I'm thinking I'm going to end the road trip there and then just head on home. I think that's my thinking at the moment. I've had my fill of all these amazing sights and these amazing roads, and it's literally been 4 days now, well, 3.5 days of just pure driving through the most amazing countryside, and I've had my fill now, and it's I'm quite happy to trundle on home now. It's going to take me I'm thinking many weeks to edit all of these videos together as well. I'm hoping to do a good job on editing the videos, making a nice little production series. But I actually really enjoy the editing process, so it's something I really look forward to doing, and can get, hopefully get a little bit creative as well. But I'm just going to sit here, have a little bite to eat, I think, while I'm here, enjoy the nice views. And then we're going to get back on the road and see what's what. Just been looking at the map, trying to make a decision where I'm heading. I think instead of going all the way along to the east, so I end up sort of near the River Mersey in Liverpool and Chester and all around there, I think I'm going to go along a bit further, and then I'm going to make a right turn and go down through Denbigh, and then the Clwydian Range and Dee Valley National Park, I'm going to assume that is. It's going to take me through like a national park, so that could be quite a nice, pretty drive. And then that takes me to Oswestry, and then from there I'm going to head on home. Yeah, I feel quite comfortable with that decision, and so I'll be home tonight, and that'll be 4 days of travel, topped up again with fuel. So I've now got 518 miles of range, so that's going to get me all the way home. So good stuff. No doubt I'll keep checking in on my trip back, because it's still part of the road trip. Getting home, it's still part of the thing. It's like when you go on holiday. For me, the holiday starts the moment you step out your front door to get in the van. It's not a case of the holiday starts when you get there. The journey is all part of the holiday. So and it's no different in this case.
By this point, the end of the trip was starting to feel close. For my first road trip adventure, 4 days felt like the perfect amount of time. I was tired, sure, but in a good way. I'd seen so much, covered a lot of ground, and it just felt right to start heading home. I made it as far along the north coast as Abergele, then turned inland, aiming south towards Denbigh and beyond. That's when the landscape shifted again, just north of Oswestry. the Clydean Range and Dee Valley National Landscape. I don't know if they technically counted as mountains or just rugged hills, but whatever they were striking.
Pretty, isn't it? So we are at a place called the Clydean Range and Dee Valley National Landscape. Never heard of it before, never been here before, but it's very, very nice. Not quite as rugged as some of the mountains in North Wales, but it's definitely a different kind of nice. So we're just about, I'm going to guess by looking at this map, just about, I don't know, 15 miles north of Oswestry. And this is absolutely gorgeous. It was a really nice drive coming in, a lot of climbing going on. Place is really popular with bikers by the looks of it. I've seen so many of them out today. But I love how you get the layering going on, all the different levels of mist the further you go into the distance. Just makes for one of those, almost like a lot of paintings are like that, aren't they? But I think, are we in Shropshire yet? I think if we're not already in Shropshire, I think we're still in Wales, because we've still got a lot of Welsh names around, beginning with double L's. And there's still lots of 20-mile-an-hour speed limits everywhere as well, every time you come to a populated area. So I think we're still in Wales, but at some point we'll be crossing over into Shropshire, which is England. Yes, anyway, onwards.
As I pulled away from that last little viewpoint, the road dropped quite steeply, winding with nothing but a sheer edge and no barrier on one side. It was a tense few minutes of driving, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. That was the final taste of the wild landscape before the scenery began to soften and the route carried me steadily back towards England. The rugged peaks faded in the mirrors, and with them the last threads of a trip that had honestly meant a lot to me. 4 days on the road doesn't sound like much, but it had been just right. A mix of nerves and excitement at the start, and now here I was, content, a little worn out, but glad I did it. The more I travelled these past 4 days, the more I started to understand what this kind of trip feels like. Not just the practicalities of how to do it, but how it feels to live it. And that, I think, was the real takeaway.
Right then, just pulled over for a minute. Have a look out the window there. These are the Shropshire Hills, and compared to what we were looking at yesterday and the day before, they're like just tiny little bumps, but they're still very pretty. But I'm now no more than about 2.5 to 3 hours from home. I've just got the long drive back, but that is pretty much the end of this 4 days of touring North Wales. So I thought I might as well make my ending little video here and sign off, and then that way I can conclude the series, and obviously once I get home, then I can start editing, and obviously if you're watching this, then at some point I have successfully edited the videos and you're watching them now. But that is it for this really enjoyable trip. It's been, like I say, it's been 4 days. Now I have to say, when I crossed that border back into England again, there's something I noticed very distinctly that I didn't realise until the moment I left Wales, and that was a tension. All the time I was driving in Wales, there was this tension there, this slight stress going on in the background that I suddenly felt lift from my shoulders the moment I got back into England. And I think it's because they've got such controls on all their speeds and everything. It just racks up that tension. So now here I am back in old Blighty, back in England, and it's such a relief to come to a you know, a small town or village or whatever and see a 30 sign and not a 20. And suddenly I can relax, I feel like I can breathe. And I just realised that all the time I was in Wales, I just had this tension, like I was holding my breath all the time. So, and it was, like I say, I didn't even realise it until I got back into England, and then I suddenly realised, wow, I suddenly feel really relaxed again. But anyway, no doubt I'll be going on and on about this for the rest of time. But that is it for this video and this series. So thank you for watching. Do feel free to let me know what you thought in the notes below, and hopefully we'll do this again sometime. But I obviously want some downtime when I get home, a bit of decompression time, and then I'll probably do a video log and sort of probably chat about it or whatever, but we'll see. That's all in a future video. But that is it for this one. So thank you for watching. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care.